Elliot Hayes was a night owl by nature, so when he landed a job as the overnight DJ at Walker, a small-town radio station, he thought it was perfect. The pay was meager, the equipment outdated, but the solitude suited him. His first night was uneventful. He played old rock records, read the weather, and took the occasional call from insomniacs and truckers. But, at 3:17 a.m., something strange happened. The station's emergency broadcast system activated, filling the airwaves with static. Elliot tried to shut it off, but the static grew louder, coalescing into a voice. "Help me," it whispered. "I'm trapped." The voice was faint, distorted, but unmistakably human. Elliot froze. "Hello?" he said into the mic. The static cleared for a moment, and a man's voice replied, "You shouldn't be here." Then the line went dead. The next night, Elliot prepared himself. He brought a recorder, determined to capture proof of the strange broadcast. At 3:17 a.m., the static returned. This time, the voice was a woman's. "Can you hear me?" she asked. "I've been trying to reach someone for so long." Elliot's hands trembled as he adjusted the dials. "Who are you?" he asked. I'm not sure," the voice replied. "I think I died here." The static swallowed her words, and the station returned to normal. But Elliot couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching him from the shadows of the studio. Elliot spent the next day researching the station's history. He learned that Walker had been built in the 1950s, on the site of an old asylum. The asylum had burned down in 1963, killing dozens of patients and staff. There were rumors, the station manager said when Elliot asked. "People said the asylum's director used to broadcast experiments over the radio, trying to communicate with the dead, or something like that. But it's just a story." Elliot wasn't so sure. That night, he played a recording of the static for the manager. The man turned pale. "That's impossible," he said. "That voice. It's my grandfather's. He died in the fire." At 3:17 a.m., the static returned. This time, it wasn't just one voice. Dozens of them overlapped, whispering, screaming, pleading. "Let us out. We're trapped. You're one of us now." Elliot tried to shut off the equipment, but it wouldn't respond. The voices grew louder, filling the studio. The lights flickered, and the temperature dropped. In the corner of the room, a figure materialized. A man in a tattered lab coat. His face burned beyond recognition. "You shouldn't have listened," he said. "Now you're part of the broadcast." The static reached a deafening crescendo, and everything went black. Elliot woke up in the studio. The equipment silent. The clock read 3:17 a.m. He thought it had been a nightmare until he noticed the recorder. It was still running. He played it back. The voices were there, clear as day. But at the end of the recording, he heard something new. A voice that wasn't one of the dead. It was his own. "Help me," it whispered. "I'm trapped." Elliot looked up at the studio monitor. His reflection stared back, but its mouth moved on its own. "You're one of us now," it said. Walker never found out what happened to Elliot. He vanished that night, leaving behind only his recorder and a stack of old rock records. The station hired a new DJ for the overnight shift. On his first night, at exactly 3:17 a.m., the static returned. "Can you hear me?" a voice whispered. It was Elliot's.
Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this eerie tale, don't forget to leave a like, and if you crave more chilling narratives, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Until next time.